Most people, when they think of sports betting, they think of some big, burly guy named Guido who is going to send Johnny No Thumbs to your apartment to break your kneecaps to settle your gambling debts. But that's actually not the reality. The reality is that sports betting is a $120 billion above-ground industry that's legal in over 150 countries worldwide. Even the United States, which is a notoriously conservative country when it comes to things like betting or cannabis, has actually just recently started to rule in favor of sports betting. You may have heard that back in May, the Supreme Court overturned PAPSA, which was the longstanding law that prevented states from offering sports betting. And they overturned that, and now states can actually begin to legalize sports betting, and a few of them already have done so. Several more state legislatures have it in the works to do so, and we do expect that by the year 2022 that all 50 states here in the United States will offer sports betting. But forget about the United States for a second. Over 150 countries, as I mentioned, worldwide already legalize sports betting, and they spend people spend over $120 billion betting on sports, all above ground, all regulated, all 100% legal. But there are still huge problems within sports betting and within the online sports betting space. So let's say you want to go place a bet with an online offshore sports book. You're going to have to use your credit card or send a wire transfer, maybe a cashier's check to fund your account. And generally speaking, your bank doesn't like funding gambling or betting accounts. They'll oftentimes decline your transaction or force you to go around and use high-fee type of service providers like MoneyGram or Western Union to send money to fund your accounts. Also, you're sitting there with delays of 1 to 5 days to actually fund your account. So if you're sitting there on a Sunday watching football and you're like, oh, I want to quickly bet on the Packers to beat the Vikings. I'm a Packers fan, sorry. You can't do that because it's going to take a long time for you to actually fund your account before you can even place a bet. Plus, once you do send the money there, you have to hope and trust that the offshore bookie that you're sending your money to is actually going to keep your funds in your account, not run off and do something with it, and actually pay you out should you actually win. And then even if you do happen to win and you do happen to get paid out and you do happen to receive your funds, you're generally paying huge fees, which are called VIGs, to the bookmaker for just the privilege of being able to place bets. And these VIGs are anywhere from 9 to 11 or 12% of what you actually won. There's another big problem too, which is that online sports books, or actually any sports books, they have manual human underwriters that are deciding the odds and the terms for every single bet out there. And they don't use very robust technologies to implement these bets, which basically means they can only offer a certain limited number of bets in the first place. And when they do offer these bets, they often rig kind of the odds in their favor to account for risks that that are associated with them having to pay out the bets should you win. There are definitely instances, and you can go online to research this, where the bookmakers will lose money from time to time. They'll have losing days, they'll have losing weeks, losing months, even losing quarters. In the long run, they'll win. But they do have, from time to time, losses that they incur. And this is because, again, of human-generated betting odds and underwriting that they do, and also the risks that they take on by being the sports book. And there's also a huge conflict of interest. They're the ones taking the bets. They're the ones being on the opposite side of the bets. And then they're the ones deciding the results of the bets and then determining to pay you out. Think about this. If you were on a trading platform on Binance or some other E-Trade or whatever it might be, and you were making trades, how would you feel if the other side of that trade was E-Trade or Binance? Not really good, right? Well, that's what's happening with sports betting. You're actually betting against the house, the platform with which you're funding your account with. And there's huge issues of trust that go with that that really is not ideal for you as someone who's looking to place bets. So of course, naturally, ZenSports is a solution for this. So we are creating our own sport token, as well as implementing cryptocurrencies to allow for faster, quicker, cheaper funding of betting accounts, as well as payouts for those accounts. You actually can create your own bets. So we are developing a peer-to-peer marketplace where you can be the maker of any kind of sports bet you want. You want to create any type of bet with any team or any player or any odds, and then someone else in the marketplace will be the taker and accept that bet. So you're no longer betting against the house, which again is a huge conflict of interest. You're betting against other people in the marketplace. And because you as the maker can set your own terms, you have control over what those odds are, what the payouts are, and the other terms of the bet. So this puts you back in control versus the sportsbook dictating to you what you have to take in terms of a bet. And that also leads to a huge reduction of fees. So by us not being the bookmaker, we don't have to take on the risk of losing a bet to you, which means we do not have to charge the kind of fees that traditional sportsbook makers have to charge. Because we're simply the marketplace bringing and matching two different bettors together, a maker and a taker, for whatever bets that they want. So by us not being that actual bookmaker and just being the marketplace, the reduction in VIGs is pretty significant. Oops. I think this is actually my favorite and most important slide of the presentation here. I got into cryptocurrencies about 7 or 8 months ago when everyone was FOMOing into Bitcoin on its way up to 20K. And one of the things that I started to see as I got into this was how everyone is raving about the technology, about the fact that it's decentralized, and hey, we're gonna replace traditional fiat and the government and all this other kind of stuff. But where are the real world applications for cryptocurrencies? Where are they? You can't walk into Starbucks, although you might be able to soon with Bach. But right now, you can't really do anything with those cryptocurrencies other than speculate and trade with them. We believe that betting and gambling is one of the first best use cases for cryptocurrencies out there because of the reasons I talked about before. The fact that banks don't like gambling or betting apps, and they won't let you fund them very easily. The fact that they have huge restrictions. The fact that governments have huge restrictions and regulations around them. Regarding the trust issues that we've talked about. Regarding the ability to make payouts. Using smart contracts to match two people together for a bet, and determining the outcome of that using smart contracts in a token economy. And if you look at the examples that are out there right now, you look at trading exchanges, which are essentially highly speculative gambling markets. Absolutely, cryptocurrencies are a huge application. Augur, FOMO 3D, these are a couple of other great examples of betting and prediction markets. And then we talked about how the trust issues around banking and contracts that that cryptocurrencies can solve for with betting. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. This is a busy slide, but basically the way we're building this with ZenSports is you as the maker of a bet, you can create any kind of bet that you want. There's another taker in the marketplace who will accept your bet. And then what we'll do is you as the maker can actually submit the results when the bet is over. We set a small escrow portion beyond your original bet in case it's disputed by the taker. If the taker of the bet wants to dispute your results, they can do that. And then we will take those escrowed funds via the smart contracts that are set up and send it to the marketplace to vote on the results. Half of the escrow funds will go to the winning side of the voting marketplace so that the marketplace is incentivized to vote correctly. So that's how we get around the Oracle problem. And then the other half of the escrow goes to the prevailing party, either the maker or the taker. So the maker is highly incentivized to provide correct results. The taker is incentivized to not submit a superfluous or BS dispute. And the marketplace is incentivized to vote correctly on the results. We have a pretty cool team, myself and a couple of awesome engineers. Won't spend a lot of time on that. We're doing a small little pre-sale right now, leading up to an ICO later this year. We've closed about half of that, and Icon, which you may be familiar with, one of the larger blockchains out there, has actually made an investment in us, and we're actually building our token and smart contracts on their protocol. Very excited about it. It's faster than Ethereum. We don't have to use state channels to facilitate rapid real-time bets, and just very excited to be launching. So appreciate your time. Do we have time for questions or no? I guess 1 or 2 questions if there are any. Sure, go ahead. No, so both fiat and crypto, and that's important, I think, especially as we try to get people on board with crypto. But we are going to be incentivizing them to use cryptocurrencies through lower fees and other perks. Yeah, go ahead. So we're launching the fiat version of this September 10th. We actually originally started out as a recreational sports app to help people meet up to play sports for money. We launched that about a year ago. So you actually could download our app right now in the Play or App Store. And by having that product already in place, we're actually able to take a good chunk of that and apply it to what we're doing now. So we're launching in a few weeks. And then the cryptocurrencies and smart contracts portion of it are coming later this year. One more question. Go We are providing recommended or kind of crowdsourced odds, but at the end of the day, it is up to the user. And we do believe that most people, even the casual sports fan, would prefer to choose their own odds and to be in control of that. So maybe somebody that has no familiarity with what they're betting on might not like that, but even casual sports fans have a general idea of kind of what they want, and really should be up to them to dictate those terms. So thanks.